Hi everyone! Welcome back to Writing Time with Miss Megan. I'm so happy that you clicked in today. Before we get started with Writing Time, make sure you have all your materials. We'll talk one more time this week about some of the materials you'll need, and then next week, try to bring all the materials on your own. So yesterday we talked about the first thing we need is a writing utensil, and here's some examples of some things you could bring. And also, we talked about something to write on. So hopefully you all have your own journal you could write in. Maybe it looks something similar to this with lines to write on. Or maybe you have a piece of paper to write on. But hopefully we're all going to have our own journals soon. But if you don't have a journal today, that's okay. You can write on a piece of paper, or if you have a whiteboard, again, you can write on that too. Okay. So before we get started, now that we know our materials, now let's review what we did yesterday. So go ahead and pull on that thinking cap. All right. So yesterday I had a special friend come. Does anybody remember who my special friend was? That's right, the bear. He's an object. And we talked about writing a sentence, an awesome sentence, with two parts. Does anybody remember the two parts of an awesome sentence? That's right. There's the naming part and the telling part. And at the beginning of the week, we used the naming part to tell the who, right? And we were using names, like Miss Megan used her own name, and you guys should have written a sentence with your own name, or maybe a friend's name. But yesterday, we talked about the naming part could also be an object. We could tell a sentence, and the naming part of the sentence could be an object. Like I talked about the bear, and I wrote some sentences about the bear. The bear is sitting. The bear is playing. Today, we're going to try to write another sentence with the naming part being an object, because you guys are getting so good at this. And by the end of this week, you guys will be experts at telling an awesome sentence with the naming part and the telling part. So today I brought a different object to show you guys. Does anybody know what this is? That's right, you guessed it. It's a bird's nest. And I'm going to write a sentence first, and I'm going to show you with a naming part and a telling part. I'm going to show you a sentence, or I'm going to write a sentence about the bird's nest. And just so you know, this is a little toy bird's nest. That's why it's so tiny. It's not real. But you guys probably already knew that. All right, so here goes. I'm going to think about my naming part. I want to write a sentence about the bird's nest. So the bird's nest. Well, what do I want to tell about the bird's nest? Well, I want to tell that the bird's nest has eggs. Do you see the eggs inside of them? 1, 2, 3 eggs inside of this bird's nest. Okay, so here it goes. My naming part is the bird's nest. The bird the bird's nest. There's my naming part, and my telling part is that it has eggs. The bird's nest has eggs. The bird's nest has eggs. All right, now I'm going to show you my naming part and my telling part. My naming part is telling me the who or the what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about the bird's nest. That's what I'm naming, the bird's nest. Now, what am I telling about the bird's nest? You got it, has eggs. Here's my naming part, the bird's nest. That's what I'm talking about. That's my who or the what that I'm talking about, or that I'm naming. And has eggs is the telling part. It's what the bird, it's what I'm telling about the bird's nest. It has eggs. All right. Now it's your turn. I want you guys today to try writing an awesome sentence with a naming part and a telling part. But instead of using the naming part being a who or a name, I want you to use the naming part to tell a sentence about an object. So maybe it's an object you have around your house, like a pot, or maybe it's a flower, or maybe you're going to use the naming part to tell about something that you remember, a material from school. Whatever it is, make sure that you have the naming part, which is your object, and the telling part that tells what about your object. All right, I can't wait to read some of these sentences. When you're done, go ahead and take a picture of your sentence and upload it to Seesaw so Miss Megan can read it. I can't wait to see some of these awesome sentences you guys are writing. Now you guys are experts at telling an awesome sentence with the naming part and telling part. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday. Bye, everyone.